Hello, beautiful people. I am so excited. November is over, December is here, and let me tell you, I am excited. I know I say that in like every video, but I really enjoy life, and I am so excited because I feel like December is about to be fire. Okay, so let's start with November, shall we? So in November, I had 11 big goals that I wanted to accomplish throughout the month. And I was able to accomplish 6 out of the 11, which I personally think is wonderful for so many different reasons, but I'm really just elated about that. Now, I know technically that's not, like, if you look at it percentage wise, you're like, really though? That's kind of crappy. I'm just very excited and thankful and happy that I'm making progress toward my goals, because there are a lot of times that I start and then pause and start and pause and just don't feel like I get momentum, or there are a lot of mind games that happen. And I mean, that's a whole separate video, which at some point I'll talk about because it affects a lot of different areas of our lives. But as I've said in other videos, I'm gonna focus on my accomplishments because that's where the business is. That's where it's good, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna get off that soapbox and we're gonna talk about these goals that I accomplished. Okay, so as I was saying, in November, I had 11 goals. The first goal was to level up in Krav Maga, which I did. If you've been watching these videos for a while, I have a video, I think it was week 1 or week 2, one of those. I'll put it up here. I think it's this side. I'll put it up here. Where I talk about how I was able to level up in Krav Maga and some of the challenges that I faced along the way. And it was truly, truly mental. It wasn't so much about the physical. There were more challenges mentally in me believing in myself, in me believing that I knew what I was gonna be doing, in me just not doubting myself. And so that is a huge accomplishment and I am very proud of it. And so whoop whoop for the win. So my next goal was to go to my sister's wedding in San Diego, and ta-da, it happened. I am just, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Everything about that trip was delightful. The time that I got to spend with my siblings, the time I got to spend with my nieces and nephews, which was not enough, my sister's wedding, her in-laws, I just loved everything about that trip. It was so wonderful. Even the late nights when I was like, yo, I'm tired, we need to wrap this up. I still enjoyed a lot of it. It was absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. I just, congratulations, sister. Love you. Okay, the next big goal that I accomplished was saving $1,000. I was able to do this the first week. I will also put a link to that video here because I think it's on this side. Random kind of bunny trail. Like how things look when you're filming and how things look when you're editing, sometimes they switch. So I might be pointing like, it might come up here, but it really might be on this side. And I won't know until I'm editing and be like, what? So listen, here's what we'll do. I'm gonna put week 1's video here. It'll be either here or here. Anyway, I was able to save $1,000 week 1, which was wonderful, incredible, and kind of wild. But I'm really happy that I was able to do that then. It just made me feel really good. And there is something mentally about knowing that you have a financial cushion, right? And everybody has a different threshold. $1,000 definitely is not like my minimum threshold, but it is really nice to know, like, I have a stack pushed aside just in case, you know? Especially after I went through Hurricane Ian. Facts. It is nice to know that you just have some cash hanging out, waiting for you. It's dreamy. Okay, the next big goal that I accomplished that I'm really proud of was establishing a debt elimination plan. I mentioned this in another video. I don't remember which one, but it was about how because I was unemployed and figuring things out financially when I moved down here, when it came to my finances, I just was like in denial. I'm like, I can pay my bills. I'm not really focusing on what's going on over here. And being able to sit down, be very open and honest with myself when it came to my debt, what I had accumulated, and how I was going to pay that off and coming up with a plan was really good. Like, I am so proud of myself that I was able to do it, because sometimes it's really hard to swallow that pill. And I just, there were so many things trying to come out of my head at once. Not only did it feel really good, but it's also very freeing, because now I know what I'm working with and I can figure out how to knock out the little checkpoints that I created for myself. And so I'm really thankful that I finished that part, that goal for the month. And I'm also really grateful because now I know. And so each month I'm going to do a financial pulse. I'm going to look at it and make sure that I am on track. And when it comes to finances, sometimes you're on track and sometimes you fall off. You know, you get on the struggle bus and then you have to hop back off and get on track with your life. But I'm excited that I have a baseline and I know where I'm going. I'll leave it at that. Okay, so this next goal, I originally did not put it down as completed, which is why I said only 6 out of 11. But last week, week 4 was kind of like this weird, or week 5 was kind of this odd week, because some of it's in November, some of it's in December, so it's kind of this in-between week. I'm gonna count it as a win toward November. And that goal was to pay $300 toward my debt. So last week I was able to put $210 exactly to my debt elimination. And then through the rest of the month, I was able to put, like, one week I did 50 and another week I did 50. And so little by little, I was able to actually accomplish that goal. So fire, honey, I love it. That's what's up. Like, I'm sitting here looking at my goals and thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it did. It worked out. Yeah. Anyway, I'm super excited. So actually, I did 7 out of 11. I feel like a boss. Okay, so the next goal that I was able to accomplish was outlining book number 2. This I feel really good about because I am moving forward little by little. I'm really excited for that. I'm very grateful. And I just hope that each of my books has an impact and a positive effect on the world. And so it is really cool to think that it's just really cool to have, like, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm processing, be very clear and get it out on paper so that it can help other people. And I am just so jazzed about it. I'm delighted. Okay, so the next goal was to establish a family trust. This did not happen in November. I mentioned it in another video, but this didn't happen because there are different aspects. I have to really think and be very intentional with some things, because this is a family trust. And what I mean by that is I am establishing something that is going to benefit my family for generations. And when I am no longer here, I have to think about who is going to enforce what it is that I've set up and that I have designed to benefit my family. And who do I trust to do that? It's such a big undertaking, a big responsibility. And there is the off chance that this person that I trust may not want that responsibility. So in a previous video, what I had mentioned is that I'm just praying about it, and this is something that after the first of the year, I am going to, you know, I'm going to have these discussions with people and figure that out. As we have these discussions, see if it's something that they are willing to do and take on that responsibility, and then go from there. If they are willing to take on that responsibility, great. If they're not willing to take on that responsibility, that's okay. I will have kind of a backup, if you will. And that's where I am with the family trust. But it is important to me that I do set that up for several reasons. As I know from living my life, life is short and you never know when your last day is your last day, you know? And I'm not fearful of that time. I just want to make sure that all of this work and time and energy that I'm putting into all these different things is benefiting those that I love. And right now, those are my brother, my mom, my brothers, my sisters, and my nieces and nephews. And then in the future, it will be my family. It'll be my husband, my children, my mother, my brothers, my nieces and nephews. And so that's my heart. That is like one of the big things that I have such a strong desire, is to create generational wealth and leave an inheritance for my children's children. The next goal that I have for November was to have my website redesigned. Y'all, it just didn't happen. A couple of reasons. So I decided this is something that I want to hire out to do. I can do it, but it takes a lot of time and diligence, and I am busy with other things. There is somebody that I have reached out to and contacted. They are willing to redesign my website, which is great. However, they are like $350. And I was like, cool, yes. Give me a minute. So as I get my finances in order and take care of some things, I will make sure that that becomes a priority. And I foresee that taking place after the first of the year. So I'm okay with that. I am. I'm just going to put that on pause and move it over here, and we will revisit that in January. The next goal that I had was to complete my photo shoot for the redesign of my website. Interestingly enough, I put the down payment for the photo shoot, but I had to book what time she had available to do the photo shoot that worked with my schedule and her schedule, and all of that was January. So it's interesting to me that I also had to kind of put on pause the redesign of my website, and both of those things are going to take place next month. So everything worked out as it's supposed to. Not when I necessarily wanted it, but as it's supposed to. Okay, the last goal that I had was to develop consistent graphics for YouTube and Instagram. I like things to look nice and aesthetically pleasing. I like nice things. And so that's something that I have really worked on. So hopefully you guys may or may not have noticed, but all of my weekly goal videos are one way. My business my business diaries videos look another way, but they're consistent. And when you look at all of them, you're like, oh wow, that looks nice. And so they're consistent and cohesive. That was my objective. And so far I've done, I think, a pretty good job at that. So I'm happy. Before we move on to my goals for December, I am also going to talk to you about my habits. So I had 4 habits. The first one is reading my Bible daily, reading 20 minutes each day, praying and journaling, and then tracking my no spend days. That one's not so much a habit, but just a tracker. And the data for this, you guys, I'm really happy I have the app that I have and that I have chosen to actually track it. So I read, out of the last 30 days, I read my Bible 14 out of those 30 days, which is okay. I still want it to be daily, but I'll take it. When it came to reading 20 minutes a day, fail. I feel like fail, but it's a habit, so I'll work toward it more, be more intentional with it. I say fail because I only read 20 minutes a day, 6 days in the past month. So sad. Fail. Then there was praying and journaling. This one too, fail. I read, again, it was 6 out of 30. I think that one might be a little bit off because I didn't journal in my prayer journal at all. I don't think, maybe once, if that. But I did find myself just having more conversations with God and being intentional with my time in the morning. And spending that time with him in the morning. And I think there were some days that I didn't like check it off in the app, but 6 out of 30 is still very sad. My no spend days, I crushed. 16 out of 30. Okay, not crushed, but I did very well. 16 out of 30. So for half the month, I did not spend any money unnecessarily, which is why I'm tracking my no spend days. It's not for a budget. It's not for like because I need to be super strict with my money. It's that I want to be better with my money, and I know that I have defaults when it comes to my emotions. I emotionally spend money and it's silly, and so being more intentional and tracking like, hey, no, I didn't spend anything today, or when I go to spend money, be like, no, I don't need to spend money, and then having the satisfaction of when I like check it off in my little app. So 16 out of 30 is not shabby. And again, I feel like there are some days I didn't check off, like I just wasn't on top of that. So those are my habits for November. Doing all right. We'll get better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the December goals. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, goal number 1 is to create and complete my family yearbook, which I talk about in my this week's goals. I think week 5, we're on week 5. I'm excited for this. It's dreamy. It's gonna be such a great gift. Goal number 2 is to complete a December financial pulse. Just making sure that I'm staying on top of my finances and that I'm not going back into denial because I feel emotionally overwhelmed when it comes to my finances. Instead, I want to make sure that I stay on top of things and that I'm consistent with that. The third goal that I have is to save $200, and a stretch for that would be $400 for the month. Save it, maybe buy some tangible assets, or you know, always having cash on hand is great, but making sure that I have that money set aside. My fourth goal is to pay $300 toward debt elimination. I want to make sure that I stay on track with that and that it continues to dwindle down, that little debt thing that I have. The next goal is to set up my email list. So I have a website, I have products, I'm going to launch them next year, and I want to make sure that I have an email list so I can build a community and you know, just be involved with people and everyone that is taking part in all the information that I'm sharing. And so that is a big thing, setting up my email list and marketing and all of that stuff. The next goal that I have is to create my first mini course. This is gonna be a challenge. This one I think might be a stretch, but it would be good, and that's just creating the mini course. The next one is to finish writing book number 2. I think this can be done. It's December, and I just have to not overcommit, as I learned from last week. Again, check out last week's video on goals and everything. It's in there. And then my next goal for the month is to establish a marketing campaign for book number 1. Followed by establishing a marketing campaign for book number 2. Now these are 2 separate goals because I think putting all of those pieces together for the first book will make it easier when I go to do it for the second book, but it's establishing that foundation first, and so we'll see how it goes. also will be a challenge, but I'm saying challenge accepted. Next is actually taking a discovery flight. I talked about this in a previous video, but one of the things that I want to do is take a discovery flight and be in an airplane. I love airplanes. I think they're amazing. This was a goal that I had in the end of October, beginning of November, and I didn't do it. I just was like, this needs to be pushed out, but I really feel like this is something that I want to do for me so bad. It might get pushed to January, but I really want to try to do it this month in December. So we'll see. And then the last goal that I have for the month is to get a pedicure, to go to a salon, a nail place, get a pedicure, and take care of my cute little toes, because I deserve it. I think that that's one thing that I can do this month that is like a treat for me. So those are my goals for the month. They're 11, the same as last month. And my habits are the same. I'm going to track the same habits and my no spend days, just because I actually do want those habits to be habits, and I do want to see if I'm improving on how I'm spending my money. Like, I don't want to spend my money unnecessarily. I want to spend it with as much intention as possible. So that's it. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. I will see you guys in the next one. Adios.